thought of, God and the universe there. Where's that come from? Was that a Hellinger thing, or where is that coming from?
No, my training is from Malcolm Southwood. Malcolm Southwood is an English healer with whom I studied in Switzerland for 1.5 years.
Yeah.
And he is teaching this concept. Okay. And there are books also on the reading list that you can read if you would be interested to deepen your knowledge about that. Any other questions? Yes, Yuko.
So I was looking for a keyword rebirth method, and most of the website is about rebirth breathing, like breath work. Is there any other keywords that I can search for and look into how to
search for what?
The rebirth processing that I was talking about.
I don't know any other word. Any other suggestions? How do we call that if not rebirthing?
Because that's a method, right? This is also the method how to do it. I think you mentioned Hellinger was doing hugging. What's the name of
Festhaltetherapie? It's German. Festhaltetherapie. That's German.
Oh, okay. In English?
I don't know. I would translate it as holding tight therapy. That's a literally translation. Don't know whether that is a term you can search for. Yeah.
Okay. So I just follow your instruction and.
Yeah, that's why you are here. You don't need anything else.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm not here to give you half truth and then you have to venture out and find somewhere else that makes it whole.
Okay. Yes.
If you apply that, I teach you everything that I do as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've been taught. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Super. So I start with sharing my slides again. Here we go. So today we are looking at regressions and past lives. Has anybody of you done a regression already into past lives? No? Never? Ever?
I did, but not in a way that I laid down and went to regression. I went with different methods with my teachers.
What kind of method?
Through astral meditation or different things, but we went with this kind of intention, and then you go there, So I mean, they were leading it. It was very, very profound and very simple. But yeah, I was not hypnotized or doing it one-on-one like that. It was in the group, also once by shamanic journey, different methods.
Yeah. And how was that for you?
Wonderful. Yes, this weekend is my subject. I adore this.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, good. So that's good. If you have no concept of past lives and regressions, even better, then you don't need to undo anything to follow me. You can just start from a blank canvas and fill it all up with new and exciting ideas. So, what are we doing today? We are looking at death. Remember, yesterday we looked at birth and the process of giving birth and the process of how birth fits into the context of the spiritual world. Today, we are looking at death. We are looking at the past lives, at the reincarnation and family system. We're also looking at reincarnation and karma. We look at some traditional belief systems. And we look also at the sole cause of a disease. And finally, I'm going to teach you how to do regression. Regressions to past lives, but also regressions to undo early childhood trauma, or for that matter, every other trauma as well. So we use the same method for both. Easy as. You don't need to learn to. So, death. What happens now? I have to go back. Okay. Find that again. So, death. The simple truth is there is no such thing as death. Life always gives life. Life always lives on as energy, which is only changing the vibration, but cannot go anywhere, cannot go away. There is only a change from the physical to the non-physical and back to the physical form. A never-ending cycle, the cycle of life or the cycle of karma. Yeah. What does that mean? That's a profound sentence. Yeah. That means that the saying we all grow up with, I think we all in our own language, it's a matter of life and death, is not true. Nothing is a matter of life and death. Life is not the opposite of death. Death is not ending life. Yeah, the opposite of death is birth. And there is no opposite of life because life is a principle that is beyond dualistic physicality. Yeah. So when we next are tempted to say, oh, that's a matter of life and death, we should say that's a matter of birth and death. Okay. So how do we change from the physical reality into the non-physical reality? That's what we call death. Yeah, and I will talk you through that. It takes pretty much the same as the birth, 9 months to prepare under normal circumstances. The electromagnetic field of the heart that is holding the emotional and spiritual body close is getting weaker and weaker until it cannot hold them back from leaving. Yeah? So remember, the other worlds have no space, no time. They can't move. There is no movement, but they can be attracted, yeah, through energy. It has been reported, that's not from me, obviously, and also not from Malcolm, because we both are still alive, but from people who have experienced near-death experiences, they have reported how it feels, and that's what I'm passing on here. They have reported it feels like being dizzy and disorientated. Most of them report that they feel like they are going through a corridor, that there are different colors and a change of perspective when they go through there, that everything is more vibrant, clear, and sharper than they used to see things with their eyes. Now that they see things through, I don't know how to explain that. You don't see with your eyes, obviously, when you don't have eyes. So the perception brings everything more vibrant, clear, and sharper. Also, everyone is on the same journey, the soul journey, which we talk about today and the past lives, yeah? But we all have different destinies. We all have different destinies because we all create individual experience. That's our job, creating individual experience. Yeah? We can go in different dimensions. Yeah, I'm not talking about dimensions here. That's way out of what we need to know when we do trauma release. Only the ones that are sticking to the in-between world are not going through the corridor, And there's also a report from them coming back. So that was interesting when I researched that. So their corridor seems to be this perception of a corridor. Of course, there is no physical corridor. Don't get me wrong. This perception of a corridor seems to be the connection between the physical realm, the earth, and the astral realm. Yeah. And if you are not going there because you are addicted or attached, then and therefore stuck in the in-between world, you don't go to the corridor. The soul goes back to the astral plane and the color of the emotion it has become. As you have seen yesterday in the little animation there, the reverse of the birth, that was already how the process of death is going. Yeah. So why is the soul going to this particular color in the astral world? Because it's attracted to it, because it's magnetic, because it's the same energy. Yeah. The soul, the color they have become, is the same color where everybody else is, so alike goes to alike. Yeah. So this is why people think that I'm saying being souls, think that's heaven. Because of course, it would be heaven to find only people that know exactly what you're talking about, feel the same way you feel, like you feel you are everywhere duplicated, although you of course keep your individuality. So that seems to be something that is perceived as heaven. The spirit leaves the soul behind and goes back to the light, right? And of course, there are different realms and the like. I don't even know all of this, and we don't need to know that anyhow for our work. This is not important. So we have already an exercise. I feel like I wanted to say something that I haven't said, but I'm sure it will come back to me if it's important. So let's go through the exercise. I will do a guided meditation with you, and that is Shavasana, corpse pose. If you do yoga, you know, of course, Shavasana. Who is doing yoga? David? Anybody else? Yuko? Okay. So then I explain that in yoga we have asanas, poses, and what you see when you see videos about yoga, what they do, the physical work, if you will. And then at the end, there's always a relaxation pose, and that is called corpse pose or Shavasana. Now, in the original yoga teaching, and we do that in yoga to relax and integrate the practice into the body. It's a very important part of the yoga practice to make sure that the body is restored to balance, and all the energy that has been created during the asana practice is integrated into the body and strengthens the body, yeah, and is not wasted or stuck somewhere wrongly. So that's one part. But the original part of Shavasana in ancient yoga was to experience death. This is why it's called corpse pose, because it's the highest spiritual practice to experience death until all fear of dying, all fear of dying has completely dissolved. Because the fear of dying is keeping us away from our spiritual purpose and our connection to our spiritual self. So, I'm just getting some coughing here. So, what we do now is we want to go in Shavasana, and I guide you through the experience of death on a spiritual level, of course. Of course, you're not going to die, don't worry. And if you are feeling a little bit afraid now and you hear that, then you know that you're afraid of dying. And we all are. We are born with this because it's in our lower chakras. It's embedded in our lower chakras, yeah? this fear of dying. Everything we do for survival is to avoid to die, to avoid the inevitable. That's a little bit crazy, but that is the design. Yeah. So therefore, we want to come through the heart chakra to the center into higher chakras where we are not in this fear of dying and where we can create. Because if we are in fear of death, we cannot really create. Yeah. So to prepare for this exercise, if you want to, you can lie down, but you can also stay sitting. That's fine. Just make sure you sit comfortable. You lean back. You don't need to sit upright on your chair. You want to, as long as you can hear me, you want to be comfortable and make sure that you hear me clearly. Can everybody hear me clearly? Tamara, David, Michelle, can you hear me clearly? I can't see you. Just say yes or no.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm lying down.
And you can hear me.
I'm lying on the floor.
Very good, very good. And Yuko, you too. Okay, good. Right. So if you want to cover yourself, if it's cold, and then take some deep breaths in and out. Your eyes are relaxed. Your eyelids are relaxed. And you breathe deep into your belly, through the nose, in and out. While you're further relaxing your neck and your jaw, you relax your shoulders, your hands, your arms are resting, relaxed in your lap or beside your body. And you feel how you are more relaxing with each breath you take. Your inner organs are relaxing. Your abdominals, your back muscles, relax. Your legs are relaxing. Your feet are relaxing. Your whole body is completely relaxed. Your mind is getting calm and serene with each breath. Now all your attention and focus goes onto your right leg. You can feel the toes of your right leg, the foot of your right leg. You feel the whole of your right leg. You feel its weight, if it's warm or cold, their tension. You feel the muscles, the blood flowing in your right leg. And now you let go of your right leg. In an instant, it's vanishing from your body. It's not there anymore. There's nothing you feel holding your focus. And you ask yourself the question, am I still there? Now all your focus goes to the left leg. You feel the toes, the foot, the muscles of your left leg. Feel the blood running through the veins in your left leg. Feel the skin of your left leg. And now you let go of your left leg. In an instant, it is gone. It vanished into nothingness. Just not there. Nothing to feel there. And again, you ask yourself the question, am I still there? And all your attention goes to your right arm. You feel the fingers of your right arm, the muscle, the blood flow in your right arm. Feel through the skin, temperature of the room you lie in. And now you see how your right arm is gone. It's vanished. There's nothing left. You feel nothing more. Nothing to feel. And you ask yourself, am I still there? Now all your attention goes to the left arm. You feel your left finger, the hand, the muscles and the skin of the arm. Hear the blood flowing through the veins in your left arm. And then, now, the left arm is gone, vanished, dissolved. You feel nothing there. There's nothing. And you ask yourself the question, am I still there? And all your attention goes to your body. Organs, buttocks, abdominal, the chest, the spine, the shoulders, the rib cage, the heart beating. Now you see how this vanishes as well. In an instant, it's just gone. And you can't feel it anymore. And you ask yourself the question, am I still there? Now all your attention goes to the head, your hair, your forehead, your jaw, your nose, your mouth, your tongue, eyes, ears, your brain, your neck, your throat. You feel it. You feel the sensation on the tongue, the air flow through the nose, the heaviness of your eyelids. And And now in an instant, this is all gone. Nothing left. There's nothing to feel. And you ask yourself again, am I still there? You ask yourself, you answer yourself this question as well. Now slowly you start to deepen your breath. Put your awareness on the breath, on your chest, how it's receiving the breath, ebbing and flowing with the breath. You wiggle your toes and fingers, feeling the heaviness of your body from toe to fingertip. You feel your face is moving, your brain is working, your muscles are relaxed, and in your own time, whenever you're ready, you slowly open your eyes. Take a deep breath. A big open mouth exhale, like a ha. Michelle and Yuko, I hope you're not asleep. So come slowly back into sight. Here she is. Very good. Here she is. Excellent. Very, very good. Now everybody unmute so we can share. What you have experienced. Who likes to start?
I think I kind of went in and out of consciousness simultaneously.
You did what?
But I heard your voice, but I thought for a few moments I was in and out of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of falling simultaneously.
So could you follow then the meditation?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I
So
could hear your voice.
yeah. So were you able to feel the presence and the absence of body parts?
The absence part, I think, some, but
Mm-hmm.
not complete.
And how did you answer the question to yourself when you felt something is leaving?
I think it's yes.
It is yes, isn't it? Just a clear yes. Anybody else had anything else than a yes as the answer to the question? No? Would you like to share, David?
And this is the type of meditation that I do often, because there's this identification meditation, which is basically, I'm not my mind, I'm not my body, I'm feelings, then I'm not my feelings, then who am I? And in that meditation, I just sat in the space of nothingness, just with great curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost death for me is the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I've done there's a course called Die Before You Die. It's done by a German guy who was the follower of Osho, and you spend 3 days dying basically, which is an amazing thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I was struck by the mystery of the whole thing, and the calmness and the peace, and the lack of fear.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's the best outcome that you could have out of this meditation. I urge you to do that more often, especially you, Michelle, if you haven't, not been accustomed to this kind of meditation. That's great if you could take the time and do that more often, so you come into this deeper state, because that's what it does. It takes the fear away. And once the fear of dying is away, every fear falls off. There is no fear. Everything is just curiosity and creativity, and whatever life throws at you is fine, because you embrace it. Thank you, David, for sharing. And Yuko and Tamara, you would like to share?
Total relaxation. That's what I felt. I mean, I still could feel that my body is still here. So I don't know, it was a death experience. I couldn't maybe take it that deeper to myself, but release the whole the stress. But I know I have a death experience, and when it comes, I learned that what it really bothers is emotions and regrets. But when it comes to that point, everything turning into gratitude, thank for everything, and you don't think about anything. So that I learned that way my spirit can go further. But somehow that I had to come back, even I was ready to come back, and for grateful, so reason to come back. But yeah, this meditation was very yeah.
So the point of answering the questions, am I still there, when you are not your body? Did you answer that then obviously as yes?
Yes, I was here.
Good.
I was here, yes.
And you, Tamara?
Well, I also do these kind of meditations also with my dancers in the room, but not with this intention.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally, for me, crucial what is intention.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I approached with this in my mind, was like, okay, it's okay. So one leg went, the other leg. And when we came to the right arm, I started to cry.
Yeah.
So there is a dead memory probably.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I could release it, and then the left, and then the corpse was fine. And the head, then I started to feel in the neck something.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you said the question, I said, well, only here and here. But like the answer was only here a little bit in the neck, and here is still like, so I didn't say yes.
Yeah, that's very interesting,
was...
Tamara. That's very, a very good, very precise observation. Because trauma binds you to the physical world.
Yes.
It's kind of, that's the glue that keeps you here, right? And if you have your right arm and your neck, if you couldn't let go of that, that means there is traumatic experience manifested, definitely.
I could let go with my intention, but first it came from the body, this kind of reaction, I could observe it, but it's very connected with my experience in healing myself and things, that these 2 points somehow, are the points of weakness, let's say.
Maybe we should constellate that one day.
Yeah, we can.
Excellent, very good. Very good. So, the intention or the purpose of this exercise was, of course, that you can experience for yourself that death is not the end to life. Yeah? That you can experience for yourself that life lives on beyond the physical body. So, this brings us to the concept of the soul journey, because while the physical body doesn't live on, consciousness, which was the observer, yeah, that you were observing yourself, your body with, lives on, obviously, because you can beyond the body still understand that you are there. And the soul, the emotional body, and also the thought body, if you will, that's one, thoughts and emotions, they will all live on. They are not bound to the body because they let go of the body when the body decays. So that's what we call the soul journey. What is the purpose of a soul journey? The purpose is on the soul journey to experience all emotions in all shades and facets and to own them, not only to experience them. They need to become you. And I love this picture of digesting them. It's like food, just looking at food, knowing, that's an apple, that's an orange, that's a potato, that's all good, that's all mental, yeah. But to experience the taste of an apple and what nourishment it brings to the body, or as opposed to an orange or as opposed to a potato, you need to actually eat them, yeah. And when you eat them, and then you have to digest them, then they become your body. Your body is what you eat. It's made out of what you eat. And this process is the same with emotion. Just looking at them, finding them and saying, sometimes I get angry, is not what it meant to go through the emotion. The emotion needs to be owned. Yeah. We need to let it happen. We cannot just say, I don't want to be angry. I don't want to look at it. I'm not going to be angry. I suppress this and I smile all the time. Yeah, and rather, get cancer or something like that on a subconscious level. Yeah. This owning is the most important process on our soul journey that we have to do with our emotions. Therefore, we need lots and lots and lots of lifetimes, because we cannot just own all of the emotion experience and own all of the emotions in one life. It's impossible. Yeah. Finally, if we assume we have experienced all emotions, all shades and facets, and owned them because we went through, we become it. Remember, to become an emotion means you're finished with your soul journey, you go to your color to ponder for the next adventure, yeah, for the next emotion that is a color. When all this has happened, meaning you went basically through all the color realms in the astral world, yeah, then you are entering the world of light, enriched with all the experiences and no soul left. Soul is not necessary anymore. It's fulfilled. What else do I want to say about past? And of course, the soul journey is what we see in past lives. It's just another word for past lives. Each soul journey is a past life. However, past lives are not linear. Yeah, it's not that there is no in the spiritual world, everything beyond earth, there is no time and space. So the future and the past is one thing. We just call it past life because this is how we can picture it. Now, we have been there before. But in a regression, we can access life whenever they happen. They could be in the future as well. And often we don't know in which lifetime we are, and we don't need to know, by the way, for our work for healing past life trauma. So it is not even important to find out. which life it is. It is like in family constellation. It's not important which generation had the trauma. So it is not important which past life it is. The past lives are also, the soul journey is also there to work on karma. Karma is just a Sanskrit word for cause and effect. No, it's not a punishment. It's not like the Christianity thing of hell and heaven. It's not a punishment. It's just what happens in one life. If it hasn't been resolved, it will come back in the next one. Yeah. So the cause you set here for something that is not resolved, the aka imbalance, will be addressed in the next life. The unborn soul is innocent and ignorant by nature. So let's imagine this is all a concept, of course, and we need to find some words for it. So let's imagine there is the beginning of a new, fresh soul. Yeah. And there's nothing. There is no emotion. They never had an emotion. They never had a thought. No? It's an innocent and ignorant soul, because it doesn't know anything. Now, this incarnates in the first time in a body. And then it experienced something. Let's say fear, for the sake of it, yeah? So now the emotion fear is the first emotion they have to go through. And let's see how the soul goes through all the events that the human is creating to bring the soul as many aspects of fear. Yeah. And that is now the emotion they go through. Yeah. Go to. It's either, we looked at the charts, either yellow, dull yellow, or gray. Yeah. That's what they became in this lifetime. And so it goes on. So now when they come back, they are not innocent anymore, because they did something in their first lifetime, which due to the law of karma needs to be addressed. Cause and effect. They set a course in one lifetime and they feel the effect in the other. That's what karma means. Yeah. And they're also not ignorant by nature, because they already learned something. Yeah. They learned about good and bad, let's say, or something like that. And that goes on and on and on, and that's what we call the soul journey. Yeah. Every life experience is different for every person, of course. Yeah. And that's like with perception, it's very personal. Yeah. Two people can have the same experience, like, I don't know, dying in a plane crash, for example, sitting next to each other on the flight. But in the astral world, they would experience that completely different, because they are the death in the plane was had two different causes for them. We have, due to Southwood teaching, a minimum of 144 lifetimes. But I think that's probably not even happening. I would more assume that we all have thousands of lifetimes, because we intend to do the same mistakes over and over again until we learn something. So it is very unlikely that we learn in each and every lifetime profound lesson. Of course, at the beginning of the soul's journey, you have to come back more often to understand even anything. But then towards the end of the journey, you definitely go faster. So this is accelerating over time. Let's talk about reincarnation and family system. The soul has a certain genetic imprint from the previous lifetime on Earth, right? So there is some remembrance. And of course, that comes also from the physicality that the soul had adopted before from the body and their genetics. The soul needs a family a familiar environment for a smooth transition into a new body with alike genetic material, because it has this memory stored. Yeah. So therefore, the reason is that is the reason that we intend to incarnate in our own family system more and more until we are ready for a completely new experience. When we have exhausted all the possibilities in this family system. And that's also like a quantum leap when we incarnate in a complete different family system. And most souls who incarnate in a new, different family system feel and are perceived as a misfit. Yeah. They never fit into anything. They are probably disliked by the family system. Do you know how a misfit? Anybody feels like a misfit in their family? Yes, David. Yeah, me too. I have to raise my hand too. Yeah. So this is a sign that you want to go into a full fresh family system. The next life is designed in the astral world, of course, because the body is not part of designing anything for any other lifetimes. It has to be the soul and the spirit, your higher self, that is designing this new experience that we want to go to. And the in-betweeners are going back to the same life situation as if they haven't left, because they haven't learned anything. Yeah. For example, also suicide. People who commit suicide, they're also stuck in the in-between world. And they also need to go back and learn it all over. So it is a shame if we could convey to all of the young people who in their hormone-driven confusion commit suicide. We have a lot here in New Zealand. If we could convey to them that doesn't help at all, not one bit, hopefully we could have saved them. But that's not up to us. That's their destiny. So they are all exceeding right there the minimum of 144 lifetimes, and they would just fall into a deep sleep until their soul is attracted back to a body that is alike, that they can go in. Because of this, how can I say, of this, not a rule, it's more like of this design, how life works and how humans are created. It is not uncommon that you see in a family constellation of a client their own past lives in the family systems that you're working with. Yeah. However, it's not important to see that, because you are just following the work, the facilitation. You just use your facilitation skills to facilitate. You don't need to know if it's a past life. I just remember vividly that after, I don't know how long, several years of being trained and starting to facilitate, that I have all of a sudden in a family constellation realized that one of the representatives is actually representing the past life of the client. That was exciting to see, because until then I didn't know if it's a concept, just a thought, or if it's true, but it's definitely true. I can assure that. So what else is coming? Let's talk about reincarnation karma. So as I said, karma is nothing else than cause and effect. It's a law, of a spiritual law, the law of karma. What are soulmates or twin flames? Let's call them twin flames, because I think this term is used more appropriate in this context. When we are thinking of the soul going through the individual journey, before the soul is before the soul goes on their individual journey, it is it is kind of combined with another soul, yeah, which is also innocent in nature, innocent and ignorant, yeah. It's kind of, the soul is like a cell after fertilization, is dividing itself into two, and one is experiencing, and this is the beginning of duality, and one is experiencing, one of the soul parts is experiencing lifetime from their perspective, and the other is from their perspective. So they can then, when they come together, combine the experiences. Now, the difference is, and that is actually also teaching that you find with the Gnostics, not only with other ancient wisdom schools, like, for example, the yogic school. You find that there as well this concept that there is this polarity of man and woman, or the genders, yeah, defines when a soul is split. So they become, however that works, I don't know. They have the urge to become either female or male, and then they split, and then they experience through their lifetimes everything they need to experience from the perspective of a male and from the perspective of a female. And then when they go back to ascension, and they both went through all the astral worlds, they will come together again to go further to our realms that we are not interested in this training. That's what we call a twin flame. If we have a brief, normally, encounter with our other part, soul part on Earth, which is rare, but it can happen, and it's often a sign that you are going closer together. That means that you're already higher up, working through the emotions, and that there are not many lifetimes left. And that is often when you meet the twin flame. Normally, briefly, there's nothing romantic about that, although it's normally the other gender. And somehow the souls just reconnect and see where the other is at in one way or the other. That also brings us to the point that the soul journey is, in general, you adopt in past life, in the life, the same gender. So if you're born a woman, chances that you have been in all the lifetimes before a woman are high. Chances that you have been a man, predominantly a man, is low. However, you definitely also, as on a soul journey, sometimes feel it's more appropriate to go into the other gender body, and that's what's happening as well. But it's not by default. By default, one stays in the female and one stays in the male energy and goes through all the lifetimes. And if you are if you have a good sensation, you know if you are meant to be a female or male, yeah. So I don't know whether you have ever asked yourself the question, but it is a good one to ask yourself, how do I feel, or maybe even as a child, or as a teenager, or then as a young adult and as an older adult, did I ever feel, I'm in the wrong gender, or do I feel I'm in the right gender? And this comes from the soul journey. This comes from our reincarnation journey. Any thoughts to that? Did you experience any of these questions for yourself? Would you like to share? Do you all think, Yuko, Michelle, and Tamara, you're meant to be women? And David, did you always thought you meant to be a man? What do you think?
I wish to share shortly. So I met my twin flame. Tom and I are twin flames, and we live together now for 6 years. It's very, very demanding and complicated. It's not easy, but it's beautiful. And I was always thinking I was supposed to be a man in this life, and he wanted to be a woman in this life. So when we met, all the parts came together, and all the experiences through our lives were really opposite. How can I tell you? you know, everything was merged when we shared all the experiences from this life, and that's how we went to past lives also and everything. Then we saw that actually in this life I am woman, but also many times I was a man, you know. So it was not clear, it was not easy to see that I was many times woman, you know. So it's very interesting with us, and he saw that he was many times woman, you know.
Mm.
So in this life, he is really this balanced man with most emotions, very, you know, but also man, strong and everything. And I'm woman that is learning to be gentle, and you know, it's very, very beautiful. And it's very
And
special. And
how did you know it's your twin flame? What
well,
was the sign?
he had 2 times already in life near-death experience. And I contacted him for energy healing. And when I contacted him, he knew immediately, you know, what is going on, because he had opened this channel. And he is 13 years older than me. I was not interested for any kind of man or relationship, you know. I was just out of my divorce for 1 year. And when he came, immediately it was like I came home, you know. It was amazing feeling, you know. It was like the only person on the whole planet that hears me and understands me, and really it was unique experience in that sense of when you see the eyes and how you feel accepted as you are. And it's still the same after 6 years. There is no room for um, we somehow just know who we are. And during the intimacy and the intimate experience, we know we went very far in there. So it's yeah, it is, you know. And many other um, I mean, we have some friends that are psychics or things like this. They see all this, you know. So
Very good.
we
Thank
got
you.
many confirmations. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
okay.
I'm very grateful in this life. Very grateful every day, the last 6 years and also before, but because we know how profound and how special this is, but
That
also
is
it's
very
very
special.
difficult and
Yeah.
heavy, very difficult.
Very good.
So
Thank you for sharing, Tamara. That's very, very special. I think that's the first time I hear about a couple being twins.
I know, it's very rare.
Because this is not soulmates. Soulmates are somebody you feel close and you think that's the one. Soulmate is more the one, like you're, the one every girl dreams of, the right one, the one. Yeah, that's what we use soulmates for, which is not the twin flame, not the meaning. Anybody else would like to share maybe some thoughts on it or experiences, David?
I mean, yeah, the only thing that I would say is I've had a strong sense that maybe I've been a woman in the past life, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm very in tune with the way that women think,
Mm-hmm.
the way that women are. Now, I've often put it down to maybe because I have a twin sister, but I think it goes beyond that. And my wife often says, "My God, it's almost like being with a woman sometimes, just in terms of the way that I can perceive what she's feeling and what's happening." And it happens with quite a lot of people. And I tend to find that in my coaching and counseling, I normally attract women for some reason, because I seem to be able to have an empathy. I don't think they're looking for the male energy in me. And a lot of people will think that I'm an alpha male. I mean on the Enneagram, I'm an 8 without a doubt. So I kind of have that male side, but there's also a different piece of me which is quite incongruous in me somehow.
And where do you feel more at home? With your female or with your male side?
I think I'm growing more towards the female, if I'm honest, as I get older.
Mm-hmm. That's probably a sign that your soul is female.
Mm.
Without we wouldn't know it. But you don't need to know that neither. But if you're confused about, and many nowadays are, especially young people, what gender they are, right? Go with the gender you're born with, because your soul sent you here to do that, to experience that, you know. You don't need to fight it, because in your next lifetime you will resort it. Michelle, do you have any thoughts on that?
I never really seriously thought about this. But I think I definitely had, I felt I had kind of a mix when I was young, also in my 20s, 30s, maybe even into 40s. I thought it was mainly because of my profession, you know, working in a tech field and in a very engineering STEM, you know, oriented field, and then in that environment, very competitive and male dominated, and you just have to kind of be like that to succeed. I felt I had a lot of that side of the energy, and I was good at that. But I think just recent years, very recently, I definitely started to feel more shifting towards the feminine energy side and become much more aware. And I start to intentionally cultivate as well. And I felt like that's something I was missing. But I don't feel I ever confused with my gender. Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything, Yuko, you want to add?
For the gender, more like a feminine part and a masculine part. We all have these two parts, but then I feel more neutral, you know, but masculine part too, you know. Sometimes I feel it, but then it came to the question, what is feminine anyway? Because most of my friends who are like woman is a more warrior, and in a more like a masculine in a way, but it's feminine. So, you know, I get confused, but my friend circle is more strong and, you know, go for it. And the man is more like this. But, you know, it's a gender wise, I never mixed up, but like inner masculine and feminine, I feel more, yeah, like a more stronger, sometimes more masculine, but I have a feminine part. So I don't know if I'm answering the question. And the people who are around me,
not a question.
Guys are more feminine and sensitive. Those guys who are more just like this doesn't come around. I think they don't because I'm like this too.
They avoid you.
Boy, then I'm like this. So yeah, when I was younger. So yeah. So masculine part and feminine and masculine is inside. You know, I think yeah, I definitely feel that, you know, it comes and yes.
Good.
So
yeah. Well, it's not necessary to define. It's just curiosity, of course. And some report that at one stage in their life, maybe even quite early, like almost like as a child, that they feel that they belong, like they meant to be a woman or meant to be a man. So that is not so much coming from what the environment is telling you or how you are in your environment. It's more something that it's a voice that comes to you, if you will. Yeah. So that's another clear sign, you know, that your soul, you know, is either there or there. So I just, if this would happen to one of you, I would say definitely go with that then. Okay. So what is the soul family? The soul family is the people that are in the astral world that are waiting for us. So we are here, let's make an example, coming from anger into neutrality, coming from the color red to a bluish color, or greenish, I don't remember, green, bluish, and anywhere there. Then our soul family it's not fixed. Our soul family for this lifetime is the family that is expecting us to come when we shed the body. That would be blue-green. Yeah. If we are, because we are, of course, we are not jumping from one color to the next easily. We often have lots and lots of repetitions. We are always going back to the same color. Then we are very familiar with this family that is there, right? And that's what we feel then, that's my soul family. However, the soul family is not fixed. This is something that will change when you change, your soul change its experience and has gained more wisdom and more knowledge, and has evolved in this means and in this regard, and has adopted a higher frequency of vibration. Then we have also a spiritual family. That is a family that is awaiting us in the world of light. There is also a saying that we have, like, it's a family of 7. We always have 7 people we always meet. That's not quite clear. Is that the soul or the spiritual family? Because other people use different terms, so that's really difficult to decipher. However, if you have the feeling that you know people already, that is not a sign that they come from a past life, which everybody is assuming. That's a sign that they are from your either soul or spiritual family. That's what makes them. What makes them so attractive to you, or so familiar to you, right? They not necessarily need to incarnate with you in different other lifetimes. So these are the familiar faces you meet on Earth. Yeah, we talked about the misfit. The misfit is the sign that you went out of your genetic pool and into a completely new family system where you want to experience something completely different, because literally the old shoes were too small. You were outgrown the old shoes that you were walking in for a while. So there are multiple belief systems about past lives. Of course, I have to address that when we talk about that, and multiple ways, as Tamara just reported, to look at past lives and work with past lives. Yeah. They're coming from different transmitted scriptures, of course, and that's all good. We are not judging that. We don't even need to know about them or talk about them. Yeah, because they all come with a belief system in one way or the other, right? It's by nature. Religions need to be belief systems because you need to believe in something that you cannot experience. What we do is we want to experience everything. We don't need to believe in any of these. You can, everything I teach you here, other than how it feels to be dead, other than the meditation, right? Where to go after death. You can experience in yourself when you work with yourself and when you work with others. You don't need to believe in any higher power. That's what I want to convey here. No, that's not necessary for our work. We don't need to believe in the morphogenetic field because we experience it all the time in family constellation. Yeah, and that is as out as we go there. And that the same goes for regression in past lives. Everything can be experienced. Yeah, absolutely everything. And if you've been to a practitioner, and you probably want, when you are curious after this module, go and look for a past life regression practitioner in your area or online, or do it with me, whatever you fancy, so you can experience how you can access some past lives, and then you know that that's there, no, and it's not a lofty belief system or something like that. It is with everything else. The truth is nothing you need to believe in. If you need to believe in it, cannot be truth. That's a contradiction. Yeah, the truth is what you can directly experience. That's true. Remember, when we ask a representative in the family constellation, we suggest a sentence to them, say please, for example, and then we ask, or say, I heard you, and then we ask the representative, is that true? And they can, without any doubt, say yes or no, everyone, because they are experiencing it. They have no information about the family. They don't know why they say the sentence. They have no concept why this is happening, but they know if it's true or not because they're experiencing it. It resonates. Truth resonates with you, opens the heart, and untruth closes everything up, doesn't resonate. Yeah. Then if there is no hesitation, if there's no doubt, hesitation, it's all untrue. Yeah. But if it's yes, if it's clear, you don't need to question it because the truth is always simple and clear and experienced. So let's go into reincarnation in a nutshell. When we come to the end of life, we are expected to let go of all it once held, unless we intend to return and repeat the experience. That's a quote from Malcolm South. When we come to the end of life, we are expected to let go of all it once held, unless we intend to return and repeat the experience. Because if we hold on to the experience, we need to come back to experience it, because we haven't digested yet. We haven't transformed it into some higher vibration. Yeah, it's still there, waiting for us, like the bread we haven't eaten, assuming it's not decaying. So let's look at the sole cause for fatal or severe diseases. That's a little bit off topic, but I needed to sneak it in somewhere, and now we have 15 minutes, and that's why we spent the next 15 minutes. Yeah. So severe illnesses in children are most likely caused in family system and past lives. Yeah. So we do no regression, but family constellation. I don't know if there's any practitioner, there might be, that does a regression with a child. I would never do that, and I would not ask you to do that neither. Yeah. We only work with adults who come to us because they want to. Yeah. They have free choice to do that. Very important for our work. Nobody is forced to come, not even with the mildest pressure. Kidneys, that's not about children, and kidneys anywhere. Kidneys are on the soul level the feeling of being trapped. Yeah. So there would be a trauma that has to do with being trapped. That could be in this lifetime or in a past life. If we look at the bladder in women, it's a loss of control. So that's where we go. If we that's hints. Like these diseases are. If you have a client who comes with a bladder problem, we are not assuming anything, of course, but we know that's one of our tools. That on the soul level there would be a loss of control somewhere. Yeah. And then we see, is it in the family system, is it in the past life, or is it in her own life? And then we apply the right methods to heal that. Breast issues are mother issues, either the own mother or, again, an entanglement in the family system with the mother that needs to be addressed. Lungs are unshed tears and unlived grief. Lung problem. If we have a client with lung problems, alarm goes on and says, aha, I might have to look for unlived grief here. Digestive tract stands for problems in relationships. And they can also be from past lives, of course. Leukemia is overwhelmed with responsibilities. I have seen that myself in an acquaintance, a woman who fell ill with leukemia in her 50s, all of a sudden. And she was in a state of being completely overwhelmed in her life. And that was before I learned from Malcolm Southwood about the soul causes for diseases. So, and then I connected the dots later, and I said, yeah, sure, that couldn't be any different. Must have been. Pancreas is problem making decisions. I mean, severe problem, not what I'm wearing today or what am I cooking tonight for my partner, right? No, we're not talking about this kind of decisions that are decisions that are tearing one apart. Like, do I stay with this wife or do I go to the other wife? These kind of decisions. Yeah. Brain, the so-called for brain issues is a spiritual conflict. There is a war going on in the brain, if you will. Yeah. Spiritual conflict meaning often not following or not following the spiritual purpose of life, or ignoring the soul asking for that. Yeah. Throat, incapability to answer, to set the foot down, feeling of being powerless. The prostate, man loses his power. Yeah, this is also this loss of control on a way, more power than control. With women it's control. With men it's more power. This is why they get prostate problems often when they retire, or when they, when the wife leaves, or the children grow up and don't want to take over the business and things like that. Liver and bile are unreleased anger. Bone and skin is self-destruction and low self-esteem. So, here we are at our break. Are there any questions about what we have talked about before? Tamara, is that a question? Yeah.
Yes. I have a question considering this going to the color when we are done, and the eventually change of the soul and growth. So how does this affect then my family in the sense of children? If I dissolve something, this is what I know. If I release something, if I transform something in other vibration, that means that my children would not needing to have that experience, right? Or this is how we are taught, that we are releasing the pain and the burdens for 7 generations behind and 7 generations in front.
Yeah. So what you are unburden your children from is the underlying trauma for your emotion that you have released. And so the potential for your children to get entangled with that is small or gone. Yeah. That doesn't mean that they don't have the same or experience the same experiences you do, or having the same emotions that you have. We cannot do, because they are individual souls. Their soul journey is completely individual from you. Nobody is alike. Nobody is responsible for the soul journey of somebody else. That they are your children is temporary, and it's like this beautiful saying from Carlyle. Anyhow, your children are not your children. They're the so that's if you think of that they have their own soul journeys. You cannot prevent them, and you cannot deprive them of their own soul journey experience. So when in their soul journey experience, they need to, and they do have all to, like we all have to experience fear or grief or loss or anger or whatnot. Yeah, then what you do will not affect that. But they will.
But I'm not giving them extra.
Exactly, you don't giving them something that don't belong to them. What we are releasing with family constellation is burdens. They don't belong to the children. They belong to someone else. Yeah,
This was my
good question.
It does not belong to them, yes.
Yeah.
Because this I have in my mind all the time.
Mm.
Just to make it clear. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I keep on having this question. It's a basic concept.
Go.
I hope you don't mind me
No.
asking. This definition of soul, spirit, consciousness. And I think before I had slightly different kind of feel about them, but now in this context, in your teaching, can you kind of?
I will. That benefits everybody benefits from this answer to this question, because everyone uses these terms differently. Really, I mean, you cannot. This is why you have to. If you discuss with somebody about souls, you have to define first what you both talk about. Otherwise, you're talking like this. So we use the term soul for the energetic body that is a combination of the emotions and thoughts that one's accumulating over multiple lifetimes. That's a soul for us. The soul is burdened, if you will, with these experiences that are forming the emotion. And that makes us also, if you want to say, soulful, yeah? Because what is soulful music is where you can get emotional, right? So this is how you can remember it. The spirit is our higher self. Our higher self is not burdened by anything, but our higher self is determined to guide and allow the soul their journey so it can become full. Yeah. And by becoming full, the job of the soul is done. And that's what the higher self is doing. It's always there, enables and guides the soul journey.
So it's the destination, basically the ultimate destination of the soul.
It's also your guardian angel, and for some people it's God, even on the light, the source. It could be all of these words, yeah. But it is an individual. The spirit as we use it is individualized. It is like the light or like the source, but it is individualized, meaning it has a sense of individuality. It's not like the light is everywhere and has no boundaries. It does have boundaries, the higher self, because it is bound to the soul. It has no other. It is not like looking over a bunch of souls. It is individualized, and it's individualized. Its job is looking after this soul. Yeah. And it also involved with the soul. So the higher self also involves with the soul journey. So that is important for the higher self. That is to a certain stage, whenever the soul is ready to, or full, if you will, full. Let's take this picture, full, to be released. And then the higher self ponders in the world of light and is not bothered about earthly experiences anymore. I'm sure there are a gazillion other realms where it would like to go to and experience other things. Does this answer your question?
Yes. So how about consciousness? How's that? Because that chart we have, that's the map of consciousness.
Yeah, well, I don't know how Hawkins, well, that's the way Hawkins uses the word consciousness. As you can see, I do not use the word consciousness in this course because everybody uses this differently. What is important to understand is that when we talk about mind, we are talking about thoughts. Yeah, we are talking thoughts. They belong to the soul, to the emotions. They are creating the emotions. They are part of it. Consciousness is awareness, being aware. I would I would put it in the box of the higher self, obviously, and the spirit more than anything else, or anything in between. I'm just simplifying the concept, and I don't want to neither work with nor study it any deeper because it's so confusing, and it doesn't help if it's not helping us healing, you know. So this is where I put consciousness, if you will. I'm working with the subconscious and the conscience with the you know, in this work, yeah. But yeah, most people probably use it synonymously for a higher self, I would say, most likely. Other than Hawkins, who uses this for the soul.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I know, but
That's what I could.
what can we say? There is no definition that fits all. Today, I was looking up a definition for healing, and I asked, of course, AI, what is the definition for healing? And said there is not one definition for healing. Of course, it's not, right? So when it's not even for a simple word like healing is a definition, an official definition, how would that be for conscience? All good?
Yeah. I
Excellent.
asked ChatGPT of these questions too.
Yeah. And then no, you get nothing.
Different. Yeah,
Precise.
it's different.
Yeah. Very good. Any other question while we're here? No? Of course. Good. Then we take a break. It is almost half. That's perfect timing. So we have 10-ish minutes, and then I see you again. All right. So now we talk about regression. What are regressions? Why does the client need a regression? We have to figure that out. Yeah. So either to release memories from their own or a past life. We do regressions in both situations. It's the same method. We want to get rid of possessive energies or even attached spirits. We don't need a family constellation workshop for that. We can do that in a one-on-one session when we do regressions. Regressions you typically do in one-on-one sessions. You can do regressions also in a group session, of course, yeah. But be mindful because a regression typically takes 30, 40 minutes when you are experienced with it, and the group is probably not, to hold the group energy when they are not engaged is not easy. And we can also find in a regression the sole cause of a specific disease. So what are regressions? I thought I'm explaining that. So what are regressions? A regression is typically what we call when we are taking the time away. Remember yesterday I talked about the hurt soul child and the adult who's carrying that burden, and in between there are years, like say 20 years of time. Yeah. In a regression, we are bringing them both together. Yeah. And we take the time away. So it's in the past. And by bringing them together and bringing the soul child into the past, together with the client into the present, together with the client, we can unite them, and that is what needs healing. We cannot do a regression when we leave them separated through time. Yeah. So that means the regression is always in the present tense, for example. And in a regression, you want always to make sure that your client feels as if it is happening now. Yeah. And how do we do that? How do we make them feel it's happening now? Is by detailing things. It's more detailed. He sees the environment he finds himself in through your guidance as a facilitator, as easier it is to take the time away. Healing takes also place in this Healing takes place in the present. At the present, we are not healing the past. Yeah, that's not a regression. We are not going in the past, heal it there, and coming back. We are bringing in a regression the past into the now. We can only heal in the now. So, when does a client need a regression? Either because of a childhood trauma, or because of a past life trauma, or they are under the influence of foreign energies. So next question is, how do we perform a regression or facilitate a regression? We do that in 9 steps. First of all, we bring the client into alpha state. Then, in the second step, we guide them to the source of the problem. Thirdly, we affirm that everything is okay, that there is no need to be afraid, that there is no guilt and shame, and that they are completely safe. This is super important because this fear or guilt, the fear and the feeling of guilt and shame is keeping them away from healing. They're keeping them in the, if you will, in the past, and they cannot access their own healing power because it's like a shield that is there. So when we want to bring them together with their soul child, with their stuck, lost soul child, they need to be free of fear and free of guilt or shame. And we can affirm that so they can feel it and they can repeat it even to make sure they are in a higher state when they go in the regression. Is that David?
How many people know the source of the problem?
They don't need to know it.
They don't need to know.
No, that's exactly what you find out. So when I say guide them to the source of the problem, we are not saying what the problem is. We say we go to the source of the problem. Right? We're not saying the problem is that and that. We say we now go to the source of the problem without naming.
But if they don't know where, how do they know where to go? Are you saying that the morphic field will take them there?
You take them, you, the facilitator. I show you that.
Okay.
Right?
I'm open to believing.
I don't want you to believe anything. You can experience it all for yourself. So, we have to repeat the first 3 steps in case of a false memory, which I'll certainly explain to you what that is later. We have to find the situation by asking concrete questions, and finally, who is with you? That's the most important question because the trauma always needs 2. Somebody did something, because otherwise there would not be this sensation of guilt or shame. 6, find the traumatic scene and what has been said. There would be something, some words have been exchanged that create this feeling of guilt and shame. 7, the healing takes place when this has been looked at and come to the conscious mind, yeah, and then the client can say, I have nothing to do with this, I leave it with you, I am free to walk away, or I am innocent, whatever is appropriate to say. In case of abuse or horror, the client, and we have an extra slide for that, the client gets out of the situation, like picturing floating them above the situation with no emotion, yeah, because they are looking at the emotional body down there and the physical body, and observe together what's going on. 8, go in as an adult and push the perpetrator away from the child and take the child, which is the emotional body, the soul child, out of the situation, if you do a childhood regression, an early a childhood regression to the childhood. Perform spiritual healing in case of abuse or horror. Yeah, I have another chart for you for that before you ask. And 9, closing the session means bringing the client back together with his soul child, so they stay from now on together, back into where they are sitting, and guide them out of alpha state. So, childhood regression. That was general how we do that, and now in more precisely, if we do childhood regression, alpha state, the first guided meditation to a safe space, where they feel free of shame, guilt, or fear. Then we ask them, see yourself as a child. And we ask them, how old are you? And in 90% they can tell you. And in 10% they can't tell you. Then you pick an age of 5 years. Continue as above, the regression step 1 to 9. Yeah, and maybe apply spiritual healing if the child has been abused. Why? Because if a child has been abused, the adult cannot look at it. It's the same if something horrific has happened. You cannot force the client to look at it. Yeah, they would not be able to. They would come up with a false memory because the subconscious mind would just block. It's like we go that far, but not further, because it's too horrific, the memory of it. Then we are guiding the client to detach from his emotional body, who has this, this fear of looking at it, and detach from it and look from it from above, from a safe space. Yeah. So they are becoming two parts, if you will. One can observe the other, which is anyhow, the higher self can always observe the other, but we are normally not separate them to do so. But in this case, we would do so. And then maybe spiritual healing, which you will learn later if that has been an abuse case. And then we guide them out of the meditation back into the room. So it's similar, other than you ask the client to see themselves as a child. Yeah. So mental note, childhood regression, you ask the client to see themselves as a child. So let's look at what spiritual healing and regressions mean. When we have assessed with the client in alpha state through the regression the situation where this child has been abused, there is this literally this spiritual or emotional glue or goo that sticks to them. Yeah, they feel dirty. And then spiritual healing means that you take the child, or that the client takes their soul child out of the situation and into a place where they can heal. We call that heaven for now, yeah, because I always use the picture of a cloud. I let them sit on a cloud, yeah, and then they have to imagine a light shower washes all dirt away from the child, yeah, and they also see how this dirt washes away. They need to watch how the dirt, becomes clear in a lake or in the ocean or whatever it dissolves. Yeah, that's important. That's as important as watching the color and the foreign energy or the spirit to dissolve. Yeah, it's important for the healing step that the client is able to see that it's really gone. Otherwise, it can hide. After this after this has been all visualized, the gaps are filled with the light, but there's another trap, not the light from somewhere, nobody knows what that is, with their own light. The light always emits, the light we are working with in spiritual healing is the light that emits from the client. Yeah. So you would ask them to picture the light emerging from their heart and filling out all the space that is now empty, because all this goo has been washed out. Now this empty space needs to be filled with light, the light that comes from within. Then the next step is to dress the child in new clean clothes. Clothes most likely white, because that's, innocent. That's the color of innocence, and dress them nicely. And it depends on if it's a boy or girl. Put some flowers in the hair and really make sure that they feel and see and embrace this being clean and free of any shame or guilt feeling. That is symbolized with this procedure of getting washed and dressed. Yeah. Maybe the client should ask the child for a gift. No, not the other way around. Ask the client if the child wants a gift. That's what I want to say here. Maybe the child, was traumatized because it didn't feel any support, and like a teddy bear or something like that would give him this feeling of support. So that's a symbol that can help, not necessarily, and that's not an important step, but it could help in severe cases to make sure that the soul child is completely healed and feels completely safe. Yeah. I have a few times advised the client to get out and buy this gift actually and keep it close, when there was a profound healing of a deep-rooted childhood trauma in case of abuse, and that seems to help some clients if they do that. The next step in spiritual healing is to take the child out of into the heart, not your heart, the heart of the client. So you say to the client, take the child into your heart and affirm, from now on, nothing can harm you. I will protect you and be with you at all times. This is where both are united again. And then we have the close after that, and then we just continue with the regression as we did before. And when you practice with your friends and family, have the normal regression steps written down on your sheet of paper, make some notes, yeah, and then you have on another sheet of paper the spiritual healing written down, the steps, so you can combine them if necessary. So the spiritual healing is when you look back at the chart before. I actually don't know how to go back. Let's see. No, I don't. No, they throw me out. Okay, let's see. I'll show you that again. Where was this? That was here. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I think I have to share it again, because we don't see that. God, Zoom makes it really complicated. Okay. Yeah. So where I have the red arrow is when you apply the spiritual healing. Right? So that is you go through all the 7 steps first. It's always the same, nothing changed. And then when you come to the stage where the child has this horrific experience, most likely that's the other red arrow where they can't even look at because it's so horrific, then you perform the 8 steps of the spiritual healing. and then you continue with the regression. Where there's no continuation because after that is the closing anyhow. Yeah. So that's the closing of the session. Understood? Is that clear? Okay, so let's see where we've been ending here. Okay, so how do we get our client into alpha state? And why? Well, the client needs to be in this alpha state to allow to work with their subconscious mind. That's what we do in regression. Because, David, if you ask where comes this from, this information, remember the subconscious mind is holding this traumatic experience closed up in a drawer somewhere hidden in the furthest corner of consciousness, and nobody can exit it consciously. But when we have the client in alpha state, it's like the subconscious mind has it puts down its guards. And in the alpha state, the client can access the memories that are stored in the subconscious mind. The alpha state is somewhere in between 20 and 34 hertz, and it is above sleep and below hypnosis. So when we are doing our regressions in this method, we are not hypnotizing the client. They are not falling asleep neither. They will be awake at all times. They will at all times know who they are and where they are and what you are doing with them. They know that at all times. Yeah, and they also don't fall asleep and start to snore. But they will be in such a deep relaxation that their subconscious mind is relaxing as well. In order to achieve this, you always stay in the present tense. Always. If your client talks back to you when you ask questions, they answer, and they say, oh, I remember that was a red dress, they are not in alpha state. They are not with you. You have to start new at the beginning, yeah? Because they are not there, they are trying to remember with their conscious mind how they have been looked as a 5-year-old girl. But we don't want to know that. We want to access their subconscious mind. And in their subconscious mind would release the information how they have been dressed in the traumatic experience only in alpha state. You always stay positive in words. I have yet to find a positive word for not being in fear, so I do use the word "you don't fear." Yeah, but that's about the only, and you don't feel guilt and shame, but that's about the only time when I do not use the positive version of a word. Otherwise, you always look to describe everything positive, because that is also keeping the subconscious mind safe and guided to release its memory. Okay. Past life regressions. We looked at childhood regressions, yeah. Now we look at the past life regression. I only do past life regressions for adults. That's what I can highly recommend. The intention of a past life regression is to access a past life. We say past life, but it's not linear, just don't get me wrong. To access a past life, meaning not the present, that is causing the problem. And again, we don't know the problem, so we don't need to fake it here. We just use the word problem or issue. You can use the word issue as well. You don't need to use the word problem. The information will come from the clothing, the environment, or a thought. Yeah. So, and we will practice all of this later on. So all of this information are given to you by the client, because the client is telling you what they see in front of the inner eyes. You are not making this up, and you are definitely not suggesting anything. You're not saying to your client, you see yourself in a dungeon, don't you? Right? Understand? That would be completely off topic and doesn't lead anywhere, only to false memories. We say, what do you see? What do you feel? Where are you? Where is with you? Who is with you? What is the color of your shoes? What is the temperature? That's what we ask, and then we get a short answer. If they are in alpha state, they give you a short answer, a short and precise answer. They would say warm or cold. They would say dress or pants. They would say green or blue. They would give you the answer. If they start with stories, they often also get back into the present, in the past tense, and then you know, no, they are not in alpha state. So you ask very precise in a slow pace and with your voice low. That helps the subconscious mind to relax. Now let's address false memories. That's a very important topic. That is a memory. That is when the subconscious mind is not completely relaxed and not allowing complete access. And it's like a trick. And instead of giving access to the client to access the information of subconscious mind, they give the client pictures that we call a false memory. And when they are always the same, like not always, but as far as I know, as far as I have observed, they are mostly the same. And they look like this. Yeah. And a lot of perceived past lives are nothing else than false memories, tricks of the subconscious mind to get away with it and not to reveal the trauma. Yeah. So it's very, very common, and you need to be on the hunt. You need to hunt them down and eliminate them if you want to work with regression. An example is when the client sees themselves in a dungeon. That's most often the case. With stone walls around it, is dark and cold and no window, and they are a poor girl or boy. Maybe they have shackles on their feet. Yeah, they describe it as medieval times. That is a false memory. That is not where the trauma comes from. The trauma will be much, much closer to their current life, much, much more alike what their current life is than what the past. Why? Because this trauma keeps them here. Yeah, they have to reincarnate in the same realm, if you will, in the same situation with the same emotion. That is the spiritual law. It cannot be that far away. No, there is multiple lifetimes that are much closer to the 2023 a life the client is living than the medieval. Of course, when the client has done lots of real past life regressions, yeah, and they might go further away and further away, and they might end up in the medieval, but they wouldn't be in the dungeon. Yeah? That wouldn't be the thing that they see. The opposite can be the same false memory if they are a princess riding a camel or an elephant, wearing jewels, lots of slaves there to salute them, or a king. Yeah, this is the same. This is also false memory. If that would be the source of the trauma, we wouldn't have any trauma. Yeah, but that are the tricks that the subconscious mind likes to come up with these memories, or with these pictures, which are not memories, by the way. And I'm sure there are others as well. They are yet to be discovered. But normally, if you think, oh, that's strange, that doesn't sound like a real life situation, you know, then you are more likely that this is a false memory than it is a past life. Past life traumas are very, very ordinary. Yeah, that is most often family or domestic violence. Yeah, that's where the traumas come from murders, from war situation. That's where past life traumas come from, not from this fairy tale situation or pictures or scenes. So how do we deal with false memories? How do we deal with false memories? It's easy. We detect them. That's the most important part. We need to detect them. We need to make up our mind as a facilitator, okay, that's a false memory. And then we would say to the client, we go back. Yeah, we go back to the source. We now go to the real source of the problem, because obviously that wasn't. Yeah, so you make clear to your subconscious mind. If you think that the subconscious mind is still too strong and too controlling, you have to come out and start anew from alpha state, because they were not deep enough in alpha state, not deep relaxed enough. Or you just break it up and wait for the next session, yeah, and start new. And this time you are more aware if they are in alpha state or not. How do you know they are in alpha state? There are several hints. First of all, do you know this eye rapid movement under the eyelid? You can see that in the clients if they start to flicker. The eyelids, not the eyelids, the eyeballs under the eyelids. Yeah, that's one sign that they are in alpha state. The sign in alpha state is also that they are still, that they are not wiggling around, and that they don't cough, or they don't sneeze, or they don't, you know, the body is relaxed. It's very relaxed. It is between sleep and hypnosis, so the body wouldn't be active in alpha state as well at all. And they can very accurately and quick describe in the present tense what they see when you ask them. Yeah, so that's signs for alpha state. Okay, questions to what I've just shared? Well, good. It's a lot of information. I'm aware of that, but you have to practice that. Yes. Yes, David.
So you know, you're taking somebody back into a really difficult situation here, and even in the alpha state, you've not talked about grounding or taking them to a safe place, because I've seen people go into these, try and go back to these situations, and they're so triggered that they completely flip.
No, I have not that. Remember the first step after alpha state. The second step is to guide them into their safe space, right?
Okay.
So shall I bring that up again?
So I must have missed that.
Yeah. So that's the second step. And that is very important. It is a place where they are free of fear, shame, and guilt. And if they come to the state where they see the situation and it is too horrific, then you guide them to leave their body and look at it from the higher self perspective, where there is no emotions, because the emotions are together with the body in the situation. So they can report to you exactly what they see, and they would have no emotion. I have done that for, I don't know, what am I saying, 15 years now. I have never had a client flipping out, ever. I can assure you that. That is a very safe method. Yeah. And there is no way that they can be re-traumatized.
Okay.
And by the way, this experience that is in the past, that is, they have no memory of, they have the subconscious mind has memory of, yeah. The subconscious mind is like in family constellation, only releasing the information, not the emotion. Yeah. So when you have in the family constellation, I talked about that before, somebody flipping out, they are not connected to the morphogenetic field. They are in their ego mind, and they most likely have mental problems. So when you work with clients on that, you keep them exactly in the same space. It is all about accessing information, nothing else. And I don't know what you have experienced with method was that they're flipping out, but I don't know, not in this method. That's guaranteed not. So let's look at releasing attached spirit. First of all, again, you go in alpha state. You ask your client to guide you to the current, to go to the current problem or pain. They often have pain issues when they have an attached spirit. And then you ask them, whom do they see? So there are 3 different ways to tackle regression. One is the past life regressions, which we talked before, where you guide the client back into a situation that they describe back to you. No assumptions. You don't know where they go. Yeah. When we have a childhood trauma, we ask them to see themselves as a child and how old they are. Yeah. And the third one is when we release attached spirit, we ask them when they are connected with the pain or the problem or the issue they have, whom they see. Yeah, that's 3 different questions, and that's about the only big difference that is in a regression. The way you ask the initial question, and whoever comes to mind, you pick them, whoever it is. Then you see if the person has a color, because you remember when you're working to detach spirits by finding their home color, where they belong. If they don't see a color, then you ask them what they feel, what emotion they have, and then you decide the color for them. Yeah, because you know of the color chart. If you don't pick the right color, the spirit cannot go there because they couldn't be attracted by it. Yeah, understand? It needs to. This is why we work with the color. Then, once you have detected the attached spirit, and I'm saying person, but of course it's not a person, it's a soul. Yeah. Then we send the spirit with all his or her, all their energies into these color that we like. You know, we let them depict. We did that yesterday, didn't we? The exercise with the emotion, or was it the day before?
The first day.
Ah, so then David and Hugo don't know that. Okay, so.
But you repeated this yesterday. You repeated that part for them.
Did I? Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know what I'm talking about, David and Hugo? At point 5.
No,
So we good.
being honest.
Yeah, of course I asked you to be honest. So the corresponding color to the emotion that this attached spirit is in, yeah, the state of emotion they are in, that you see there, the spiritual color chart. We need to project that outside of the client, yeah, and let them see like the color in form of a cloud or a door or whatever, whatever that, a ball or whatever you will, whatever the client wants, whatever you want, you can actually decide what that is, as long as it's in the same color. And then the spirit, as well as the attached emotion, same procedure, has to find their way into this color. That's the whole part of the spiritual healing. Yeah, that's the whole part. So through your facilitating, you guide the spirit. You cannot just tell them, and now you go, because they won't, because they're very attached. Yeah. So there is where your compassion and unconditional love is really at play, to convince the attached spirit that they need to go. They need to leave the body. They need to go there. How do we convince them? Because we understand the position they are in. They are lost. I like to use a picture of somebody who has missed their train. They have missed their train home. And now they are on the terminal forever, because there is no other train leaving until you come. And you will show them the terminal where they can step in their train. That's the work. Yeah, that's the work. So that needs convincing. How do we convince a spirit? We have to address the higher laws, the spiritual laws. It is a spiritual law that you cannot live somebody else's life. It is as easy as that. And the attached spirit doesn't know that and doesn't understand that, doesn't realize it. So you would say, literally, to the spirit, either represented in the family constellation, or when you're only with your client, you would let either your client talk or you talk to the attached spirit, saying, you cannot stay. This is not your body. It is against the spiritual law when you stay. You have a home. I show you where your home is. Yeah. At your home, your spirit, your soul family is waiting for you. They are waiting for you for a long time already. It is time now to go home. Yeah. So you're not pressing, you're not applying any pressure, any power, nothing like this. You are talking to the spirit like to a child that needs to learn, where to go, needs to get some instructions, or even an adult needs to get some instructions how to go from A to B. That's how you talk to them. Easy. No, that's all you do. And then you will see, I've never seen it differently yet, that they willingly, but slowly, some so quick, but I have seen a very slow process as well, that they willingly let go of their host and move towards their color. Yeah. And as closer they come, as more joyful they will be. And the client is observing this movement. Yeah. So they can see how the spirit detaches, goes in his color, and then dissolves, completely dissolves. Yeah. And sometimes it's indicated to say that they have to take all their energies with them. Yeah. So they leave nothing, there's nothing left behind. Then we do the same as in the spiritual healing. In the childhood trauma, we let them fill the remaining empty space, because the spirit was somewhere. Most often at the neck. I don't want to go into too many details, but sometimes you can see a neck bump when somebody has an attached spirit here, or sometimes in the organs, or in the spine or the lower back. They're not attaching to limbs, so you won't see them in arms or legs or anywhere there. So you let the client fill this empty space with their own light, not with the light from wherever. Yeah, because why? We don't know what. There's so much deception on earth. There's so much deception in the spiritual world. We don't know where this light is coming from. We only know that when the client uses their own light, that it is safe. That's the only way it's safe. Yeah. So we are not inviting any new foreign energies into the body. So once they've been able to fill in the space with light, yeah, if there was something going on maybe before or during your regression with the soul child, then make sure they are staying together. So not that the soul child is leaving with the spirit, yeah, but that is just if you worked on this with the client on both, which I wouldn't recommend. But anyhow, it can happen. And that when they see that the spirit and the color is completely dissolved, then you close the session and you bring them out of alpha state. How do we bring them out of alpha state? We just ask them to feel their body weight, to move their fingers and toes, maybe. The same which I did with you in Shavasana, because I guided you into alpha state in Shavasana. And open the eyes when they are ready. Okay, so that's that. Possessive energies is exactly the same, so we go very quickly through that because it's nothing different. It's just it's not the spirit, it's just an emotion that somebody picked up, and it's much easier to release. You normally don't need to convince the emotion. You just need to put the color there that is corresponding with the emotion, and it will be attracted to it. It will be very easy. So instead of asking who they see as a person, meaning the attached spirit, we ask what shape, texture, consistency, or color they see. If we're dealing with anything else than a attached soul, and then we do the same. We send this object into the color, and that is a quick release normally. We fill also the remaining space with light if indicated. Keep the soul child at the side if indicated. Yeah. And close the session. Okay. Okay, we can do all of this in a family constellation. And we, I think I talked about that in the first day. Did I? Did I not? Did I talk to you? Yeah, I did. Hey, Tamar. So you will see that in the video. So we will skip that in greater detail because we want more time to practice last half for demonstration and practice in the last half hour. So you just have, for everything we've went through, representatives. You have 3 representatives, one for the client, one for the spirit or the possessive energy, and one for the color or the home where they have to go. That's it. 3 representatives. You don't need any more. Preferable, the client represents themselves. Yeah. But if they are not present, then a representative can represent them. So that is all the same. The client can also say to the attached spirit or possessive energy if that is a need. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Dividing, balancing, letting go, balancing everything out, letting go of each other. So neither please nor yes is the appropriate word. It can only be thank you if this is a need to say anything. Yeah. Now it's time to part. Yeah. You belong to someone else, not to me, and you cannot stay. Yeah. So that's the same. If you have representatives, they can say all the words. If you're working one-on-one with your client in a regression, you have to say that to your client or to the, not to your client, but to the possessive energy or the spirit. That's the only difference. Yeah, it's all the same. I talked to you about all of this already. Yeah, so exactly the same, right? Of course, if constellation is more visual, if you have your 3 representatives, and as always, representatives are amazing to help you with facilitating. Especially, I just want to make the point here that you can have also if it's indicated, and I had that a few times in a family constellation, you're not always dealing with ancestral trauma. There can be somebody with a possessive energy or a possessive spirit. There can be somebody with a childhood trauma. There can be somebody with a past life trauma. You can especially do the detaching of spirits very well with representative in the family constellation. Okay, now we have our time. That's what I wanted to practice, so you can see how that goes. So first of all, I want to demonstrate, of course, a regression. So therefore, I need a volunteer. Don't worry about the exercise, it comes later. First we do the demonstration. Anybody here who would like to have a regression? Maybe somebody who hadn't had one before. Yuko, you go. Okay, the hand was up very quickly. Okay. So, Yuko, please unmute. Right. And because it's a demonstration and it's a training session, I will talk to you, not only Yuko, I will also talk to you to explain what I'm doing, yeah? So Yuko, you just stay connected, you keep your eyes closed when I talk, yeah? And you don't react, you don't react when I'm talking to the other trainees, okay? So first of all, first step, we want to bring our client into alpha state. So I ask my client, Yuko, please sit upright, keep your spine upright, maybe sit on the edge of the chair, the feet are on the ground, the hand is in the lap, relax your shoulders, relax your neck, relax your jaw, breathe deep into your belly. Follow the breath with your consciousness, with your awareness, and feel how you get more relaxed with every breath. When you come to your place of happiness, the place where you're always safe, the place where there is no fear, where you have no guilt or shame, where you are completely innocent. And then we go to the source of your issue, the source of your problem, that you can now see clearly without any feelings of fear, guilt, or shame. When I count to 3, you will clearly see what has happened, when, who was there, why it happened, without any emotion. 1, you won't feel fear, guilt, or shame. You are completely innocent. 2, and the memory is clear as it happens now. 3, with your eyes closed, look at your shoes, at your feet. What are you wearing?
Do I answer or no?
Yes, answer please.
I'm wearing like a school shoes, like
What color do they have?
yellow, or the top is yellow and white sneakers.
Very good. Very good. Do you know these shoes? Are they familiar to you?
Mm, um, yes, I get confused because I'm outside, but I'm wearing this when I change the outer shoes to the inside, the kindergarten.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now we know she's in her year, whatever, 3 or 4 years in this lifetime. So it's not a past life, it's a current life because she remembers the shoes, right? She wouldn't remember the shoes, it would be another life. But now we know it is this life. So we are dealing with a childhood trauma, an early childhood trauma. Okay. So then the next step is we want to understand the scene more closely. So we ask more about where she is. Yuko, are you inside or outside?
Outside.
Mhm.
Outside.
What are you doing there?
I'm with two classmates. I don't remember their name. I don't remember, but I know I'm wearing a school uniform, the kindergarten. So
Just answer my question, not more. So there are two other children.
especially this boy, little
It's a boy, okay. And the other child, is it a boy or girl?
girl.
Girl, okay. What are they doing?
I think they are with me. We were outside, I think, playing, and it was right outside of the kindergarten, and then the scene is on the way back to the kindergarten. Maybe the parent picking us up or something, but it was outside of the kindergarten because I see the kindergarten, but it's outside. So
Very good. How do you feel?
I was happy, but
How
for
do you feel now? See, she's going in the past because she's not really an opposite because we are talking all the time, and this is not the situation where you work with the client, obviously, right? So this is how you see, not really an opposite, but we continue because
confused.
confused, right? Very good, excellent. Is one of the children talking, and what do they say?
He says something that I'm not aware of. I can't really I was ignorant, I think. I said something and then he says something that it hurts me, like as the first time. Like I
So you
didn't,
feel confused and hurt? Is
yeah,
that what you
because
say?
something that I got embarrassed or something because I never had this feeling. And somebody said, "Oh, you don't know," or I don't know, something that it just blocked me or something like this. It's
Is there an adult with you? Is there an adult with you?
No, just three of us.
Right. So now we are not really there where we need to be, so you can clearly see that. But however, this is a demonstration. So we assume that she is in alpha state and that there is a traumatic situation with these two boys, which wouldn't be, with these two other children, which wouldn't be because there need to be some power involved, right? That some adult power normally to set this kind of trauma up. It's normally not just a fight between children that is creating childhood trauma, right? So unless it's very severe and they bury them alive or something like that, of course, yeah. So what we're now assuming in this case, just for the sake of the demonstration, is that this is a severe trauma and that is the real cause of her issue. So now I demonstrate you how we heal that. So, Yuko, I would like you to visualize with your eyes closed that you say to the boy, no. Say to the boy, no.
No.
You have no right to talk to me like that.
You have no right to talk to me like that.
Yeah. What does that feel?
Better.
Very good. Say again, no, this is a boundary. You're not allowed to step over it.
No, this is a boundary. You're not allowed to step over it.
You don't have my permission.
You don't have my permission.
You cannot hurt me.
You cannot hurt me.
How does that feel?
Okay.
She doesn't believe it. Yeah.
More like you about the judgment. I think you cannot judge me like this.
Good.
Or something.
Very good. Excellent. More precise. Say to him, you cannot judge me like this. You don't know me.
You cannot judge me. You don't know me.
Yeah. I'm only responsible for myself.
I'm only responsible for myself.
And you are responsible for yourself.
You are responsible for yourself.
Very good. Now we assume that this was a childhood trauma with abuse. Yeah. So I show you how we do spiritual healing. Now I would like you to leave your body and look at the scene from above. You leave your body and your emotions with the scene, and you hover above, a few meters above, and you watch them. Can you do that? Good. Can you describe what's around them? Are there trees or roads or cars?
Trees and street and kindergarten.
Very good. So this, I asked the question just to assure that she actually looks from a higher perspective. Yeah. Now you go down from there, and you hang on, stay there, and watch yourself being abused by this school, verbally abused by this schoolmate, and how that hurt her. Yeah. Can you see that? And now you come down and you take her out. You take her hand and you push the others away. Yeah? And then you take her into your arms and you leave with her and go up and sit on a cloud. Nice, fluffy, white cloud. Yeah? And then you see how a shower of light comes over you both and takes all the dirt and all the goo and everything that is dirty and black and brown away. It all forms a stream that flows into a river, that flows into the ocean. Can you see that? Wonderful. You follow this until there is nothing left and the stream runs completely clear. And you tell me when it's completely clear. Very good. Now you take your child into your heart and you say how beautiful she is and how perfect she is, and that you love her very much. You love her for who she is and where she is and what she is, exactly how she is. How does that feel?
Good.
Very good.
Yes, yeah.
And then you let your light shine from your heart and fill out all the spaces in yourself and the child that are empty now after the washing. So it radiates. And then you clothe yourself and the little girl in white clothes, white, beautiful, clean sheets and clothes. Make her hair, put some flowers in there. So you both look beautiful and clean. And then you take your child into your heart. Let it melt with your heart. So you become one. Can you feel that? Very good. When you're ready, you come back. Feel the weight of your body on your chair. Deepen your breath. And when you're ready, you open your eyes. Very good. Very good. Thank you for volunteering, Yuko.
Thank you. I wish I have more bigger trauma, but this.
No, you don't. No, goodness, no.
Yeah, but just like elementary school, and I sort of no expectations. Like yeah.
But so the point here in the demonstration, it was perfect for the sake of the demonstration. So the point is in the demonstration here is that you see that even though Yugo was in deep alpha state, which is understandable in these circumstances, that there are still pictures coming up. There's still the client can clearly report to you, and when they fell into the past tense, they are in their conscious mind. Yeah, they're referring to an actual memory that they know of. We don't need a regression if they remembered already when they awake. We need the regression so they remember what they don't know. I'm not quite sure if you knew the situation before, but you kind of fell out of it into, you tried to find reasoning. So that's,
yeah, because
and that's a sign of not being in alpha state, which is fine. So you normally take, just to give you an idea, it normally takes 10 minutes to guide a client to the alpha state. They need to be very relaxed, and very focused, of course. and then you can work in the same way that we did. So wasn't that hard, wasn't it? Just a few steps to remember. Okay. Okay. Any questions before we do our exercise?
I'm not sure if I remember all the steps to
You
guide.
don't need to. You don't need to. I urge you to practice. If you want, I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to help your clients in this kind of life situations with the tools of regression as well, then you need to practice that a lot with friends. Yeah, this does not happen the first time you do it. Same with family concept. It does not work like this. You need to gain experience. Yeah, so grab a bestie or grab a family member or your partner and make it a thing to practice with them twice a week or whatnot. Yeah. That's the only way, because you need to be super confident in your guidance. Otherwise, the subconscious mind does not feel safe. Your words, your voice, the words you use, they need to come confident and assured in the right way, of course. And then you can guide the client and their subconscious. Yes, Michelle?
So I guess this part is probably obvious. So the first thing, the client should come up with an issue in mind.
Yes, we have skipped that entirely to save some time, but yes, it's a good question, Michelle. It is also obvious. Yes, in the briefing with the client, you would of course ask what the issue is. But when you are working with this method, you're not naming the issue. You're saying the issue or problem. You leave it open. You leave it open to allow the subconscious mind to pull out of the drawer whatever is important first. Yeah, it's like in family constellation. We let the if you will, the morphogenetic field guide us also here. So we don't want to restrict it too much. But yeah, we definitely have a talk with the client before about the problem. You're absolutely right. And that's what we actually do in the exercise. So I don't expect you to perform a regression. God knows, you just heard of it the first time. But what I would like you to do is to take this chance and do the first step. So the first step is always the deepest, always the most difficult. And I would like you to do it here. You do the first step. You start with the interview brief and then guide them into alpha state as good as you know it, to their, happy place or safe space, however you call that, as good as you know it. You are not here in a healing session. Nobody expects from you to heal anything from your partner. This is for you to practice, and it will be for a long time what you do, practice session. Yeah. So just the steps you remember. You don't need to go to the end. We have let's take 5 minutes each. Just, either you go quickly through the steps or you just take a few steps, whatever you prefer. Any questions? Good. So break out room.
So what if we open the scene and there is 5 minutes?
Yeah, then it's over.
Okay.
Here we go. And then you just swap. There you go. Right, here you are. Oh, and the day has come to you, David.
Beautiful place.
Finally. Is that in France or in England?
This is in England.
Yeah.
It has a beautiful windows, sky windows. It's nice.
So let's share. what you have experienced, and if you have any further questions. Who wants to start?
We can start. No.
Just from the perspective as a practitioner.
But it was too short. First I guided David, and well, I forgot to take him to the safe place. Anyway,
Has to be with David, of course. He has set that into motion already.
but he knew it, and he started seeing when he was 4, right? And he was half asleep, and he was I asked him where he was inside of the house, maybe. And his brother, he felt that brother was present with him. And then we have to turn, right?
Good, excellent. How was it for you to guide him through that?
Well, definitely I need more practice, but it's
Yes.
yeah, but it's interesting how, you know, how quickly David or somebody who's going to take this role can connect and then take him to where they need to be. So
yeah. Excellent, very good. So do you feel more safe to do your next step and practice with a friend?
Yes.
You should. As soon as, before this all goes into long-term memory or not. David, how was that for you when you facilitated? You've done that before, have you?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I work quite a lot with certainly inner child stuff, taking people back to a situation. But there's some interesting things here, and it's I've never thought of it as being in the alpha state. I've always thought about it as going back in memory. So it's kind of some new things here. But yeah, it was interesting to do. I haven't done it for a while, and I just felt quite comfortable doing it.
Good.
It was a bit short to try and
5 minutes is nothing, but better. No, it's better than nothing.
yeah.
And also,
I just emphasize the safe space because I've seen this done in a group where the safe space hasn't been, and you know, there's been some very bad results with some very damaged people.
Yeah.
And you just don't know who you're dealing with sometimes because people don't always tell you that they've got psychotic episodes or whatever, and sometimes it can be quite frightening, especially if you're in a room with someone on your own. It's not easy.
Oh, David, absolutely. What I said about family consciousness goes the same for regressions. Make sure, if you can, that that's not our place to work with mental impaired people. That's not our place. That's not what we do. Yeah. If we can avoid it, send those clients to somebody else. Yeah.
But they don't always tell you is the point. So just,
I know,
so
and then it comes up.
is really important.
Yeah. I know, and then it comes up. So you have to deal on the fly with the situations, but I wouldn't go. I just would, if when you discover that, you just, you know, bring them back and finish that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And send them home. Really, there's not much we can do, really. Great. Thank you for sharing, Yuko and David. And Michelle and Tamara, you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, this is all new to me. It's my first time.
Sure.
So it's all very fast, and I think I tried the alpha state, going to the source, and taking to a safe place. But the safe place, I think it's also not completely felt like I was not sure exactly how to get them to the safe place.
Oh, the easiest way is that they picture their happy place.
Okay.
So, you know, everybody has a happy place. So if I have more time, and which I have with a client, I would ask them, what is your happy place? Is that at the sea? Is that a meditation room? Is that on the mountain tops? Or is that on a meadow with flowers? You know, you ask them, what is your happy space? And then you would like them to see themselves in their happy space. Yeah. And then you would affirm that they are safe there, that they have no fear, no guilt, no shame, that they're in control. Yeah.
Well, I do have, well, basically that's where I ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I started touching, you know. Oh, actually, no. So I started asking what the situation, and then Tamara came up with some visual.
Great.
That's where we
Excellent.
ended. Yeah.
So how do you
Well,
feel about this first time, Misha?
Besides one question which I will ask, it actually felt natural, kind of.
Good. Great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, initially I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say, but actually it just started. And I do have one question. It's that it's like the second step is to, after the alpha state, is to take them to the source. And then after that,
Safe
take
space.
them to safe place?
Second. No.
So the second is safe.
The safe space comes first.
So when do we take them to the source?
After that, after they have been adopted, after they see themselves in their happy space and they feel safe, then you take them to the source of the problem.
I think in the nose. I mean, step one was the alpha state, and step 2 was the source of the problem.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. Did I? Did I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But in the regression, I have to look that up.
Yeah.
It is
for me.
Yeah.
Definitely first.
Okay.
They affirm that they are safe and that they are free of fear, free of guilt, and free of shame. That's the important part. Yeah?
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Great. I'm so glad you said that felt natural, because it is a natural ability we all have. All humans are designed to be able to help each other. That's by default. That's why we are here. To connect and to share our gifts and to help each other in any way, shape, or form that is natural to us, that comes to us naturally. So I think you're going to be very good at it, Michelle, with a lot of practice, of course. You just need somebody to practice with. However, you can build a practice group here, you four, on WhatsApp or something. And if you want to get together and do that, or just one or just two of you and do that online, that would be fine. And also, the first step to practice, of course, you don't even need anybody else. You just read it out from your notes, or you just talk to whatever, a pillow or the door or a chair, whatever, you know. You don't need a client for that. You know, you can practice. It's about you being, yeah, talk to your water. It's about you being confident about what you say, and that you have the right words. You're not look for words, that they come easy. That's actually the first step. So yeah, you don't need anybody for that.
Yeah, but practice also helps, because by doing that, for my app, I don't receive that much. I help other people, but I already feel lighter for some reason for just this kindergarten thing. So it feels good. So
excellent. It always helps. It always helps anyhow. And the good thing is, this method cannot hurt. Nothing can harm your client or yourself. Yeah. And just be assured of that. You don't need to be, so please don't be yourself. If you would be afraid, when you do this work with a client, then that's, of course, a completely wrong foot you start off. There's nothing you need to be afraid of, and you should not be feeling this. There could be a little bit of stage fright the first times when you have a client ever, of course, yeah, but that's That's normal. That's just hormones. That's just adrenaline. But other than that, don't ever think, like in family constellation or in this method of regression or spiritual and emotional healing, that you can worsen anything. Yeah, that's not possible. No. You can only either help or nothing happens. Tamara, you want to share?
Michelle was beautiful guiding me, so just to know.
Right.
Yes, and she was more precise than me in the steps and everything, you know. So it was
Excellent.
very nice. And just that you know, I also do this with clients, and for me it's very nice reminder that everything comes from the client and the power is in the client, you know, and the safe space is client's safe space. Very, very nice part to
yes
remember, you know. So yeah, enjoyed Michelle guiding, and I had a lot of brain also coming in, but then I saw that the wall that I saw is actually my brain overthinking and over controlling. So it was not the wrong that my brain was coming in, it was the issue. So you know, it was very beautiful. Yeah. And I was just allowing that it comes, you know, that okay, that's it, it's my brain, okay, working now, I cannot relax, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then I realized, but that's the issue.
Right.
You know, so it's very nice. Yes.
Great. Well, wonderful. So we leave all on a good note and with a little bit more curiosity to experience that for yourself, how it is to work with these mythologies. As always, please revisit the video recording. Will be online in about an hour, a week's time, and start to practice for yourself with mates, wherever you want to start to practice to apply this methodology if you like to. Also, when we're on the practice workshops with the training group, don't hesitate and ask somebody if you want to practice, Michelle, for example, if you want to practice a regression, ask somebody, say, I want to facilitate a regression. Who wants to have a regression? Yeah. That's why we have the practice training, because we are practicing all the methods. It's very heavy on the family constellation facilitating side, but that does not mean that we are not want to do trauma release at all. Yeah. So, right.
Can I ask a question? I know
Sure.
we're late. So for this regression, I mean, when we practice, you know, we basically, the client probably they can bring whatever issue. But but typically it only works with trauma. I mean, it doesn't work with any kind of issue, right? So it has to have.
So remember when I emphasized on you do not mix up trauma and trigger. Yeah. What we see is only the trigger. And we might call that an issue. But every single issue will lead us to a trauma. Yeah? Inevitably. Otherwise the issue wouldn't be there. There's always a trauma. Yeah? There's always a trauma. Either if a trauma in the family system. Yeah? We go back generations to find that, or a trauma in the client or in one of their past lives.
How do we know this?
How do you know what to apply? A family constellation or regression? Is that the question?
Yes.
It's circumstantial, I would say. In a family constellation workshop, you always prefer the method of family constellation first. But if the client sits next to you and expresses signs of being traumatized, yeah, and you learn to see that with experience, then you would probably go in a regression, leaving him sitting there and work through that with him. So that's one method. In a one-on-one situation, you are completely open, and you just decide, or you ask the client, what do you want? Shall we do a regression, or shall we work with the figurines? You know, that's open there. You're always guided by the morphogenetic field. Don't overthink it. As open you are, and leave your thoughts and your mind behind, as more you know in the situation what is right. You know, that's very important. That's and regardless what method you apply here, you always are guided. Yeah. So let yourself be guided. Don't overthink it. The only thing that you need to think about is before you start to practice, if you have, you know, all the tools in your toolbox. Like a plumber leaving the house with half of the tools not in his box, in his workshop. Yeah, well, how can he help everybody? He can't. So you have to pick up all your tools, meaning all the knowledge from the course and maybe what you gather beyond, put that in your mind, and then when you are there, when the situation comes, the right tool will pop up. Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay.
Another question? Yes, David.
Can I have a moment with you when everybody's gone? I just got a personal question I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Just one.
Okay, very good. So everybody else, I see you. I think the next event is an open workshop, or is that a practice workshop? I forgot. Anyhow, check the dates in the calendar of the practice workshops, the open workshops, and then we see us as this group, we see us as each other for the last module in 4 weeks, I think it is.
Okay.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.